Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome back to part 2 of my sashiko embroidered zippered pouch with some Japanese fabrics. In the previous video I started to use some pearl cotton for the embroidery, and I ended up doing the dragonflies in the pearl 8, which was just a bit thicker, helped it to stand out a bit more. And I used this other one, which I don't know what it really is. It just says Mercer Crochet 60. It's a thinner one. And I used it to do additional stitching around some of the squares, just to sort of, help hold them down, number one, but gave them a little bit of an embroidered edge as well, continued some of the stitching beyond the squares. Just quite like the look of that. Yeah, so I'm done with that. I'm not going to add any more. I think that's enough. What I've also done is I've trimmed the blanketing away from the seam edge because it's just going to be too bulky to fold over and stitch, but it needed to be stitched down to the top fabric. So I chose a black because I didn't really want to make another feature of it, that you can't, it's there, but you can't really see it because it's, just blends in. And I've stitched up the lining now. I know I said I was going to do this by hand, but I actually cheated and did this bit by machine, just because I forgot that I was going to do it by hand just for a start. And it's just easy enough to stitch by machine, but you could do the same thing. This piece of fabric was big enough, but these little bits that I had pulled out of my stash weren't, so I just joined it across the middle here. And so that'll be like the base of my pouch. So I just thought that'll look quite nice. It doesn't matter that it doesn't match up. I didn't have that opportunity. So that's ready to go. The other thing that I've done is put some tabs on the end of the zip. So what I did, I overstitched here just so I made sure, I don't know where the camera is. Here, so that the zipper pull won't pull off it easily. And then I've made these little tabby bits, which were just extras that I cut off here. So that was, so that measures sort of 1.5 inches by, I'm measuring it on my board here, by just a bit more than 2. In half, folded in the edges there, so that will wrap around the edge of the zip. Now, when doing this, the important thing, the measurement that needs to happen is that it needs to be shorter than the pouch, because we don't catch that in the seam allowance. Now, let me turn it around this way so you can see the whole thing. So you can see here, hopefully, let's do it on this side so you can see that, and get everything else out of the way. It falls short for the seam allowance because we don't want to catch that in the seam allowance. It just doesn't make for a nice finish, and the zip buckles and does all funny things. So, yep, I'm ready to go with that. And I've also decided to use a pearl cotton. It's also a number 8. It's a Wonderful one. I've got fluoro embroidery thread, but I just want the strength of this, and I think it'll look okay. It goes with everything. It goes with this colour as well. It's not too in your face, but I'll have a bit of strength. So yeah, so the thing that I'm going to be doing first is stitching in the zip on one side, and sorry, I was just trying to work out how much I wanted. And then what we'll need to do is turn it inside out. So other zipper pouches that I've done, I haven't had it as a fold over. I've had it as a separate front and back that then gets stitched down the middle, sort of like here, but this one's folded. I kept this top piece of fabric one piece of fabric rather than cut it in half and then be stitching them together. So, you know, it's going to be a little more fiddly to get the zip in. The other thing, did I mention, I cut the blanket away from the seam allowance. Oh yeah, I think I might have said that, because otherwise it's just too bulky. So then I can just have a neat turnover. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everything in one hit, hopefully, she says. So leaving that bit of seam allowance there, I'm just going to pin this to start with. One of the things that we've got to remember to do is open the zip, but for now I'm keeping it closed just while I do this side. These little pins might not be strong enough. Oh yeah, I think they are all right. So I'm going, you know, close to the teeth. It doesn't need to be right up against it. It's okay for it to have a little bit of space. Just makes it a bit easier. But the top stitching that we're going to do with this orange pearl cotton is going to be going really close to that folded edge. So hopefully you'll be able to see that as I go. Cool. All right, so I don't know what day it is, Friday. It's been another crazy week. Oh my gosh. You know, I'm still helping my daughter out because she's still not able to drive. I've mentioned that before. She's got broken bones in her ankle. That's preventing her from driving. And so I've been taking the kids to school in the morning. And then a few days this week coming back and continuing to help my mum and stepdad pack their house. Settlement is next week. They get the keys on Monday. They're for the new place where they're going into a retirement village, and then the removalists come and empty their home and take everything on Wednesday. So we need to have everything done by then. And look, we're nearly done. My sister she lives in Melbourne, and she's been coming a couple of days a week. But it just feels like, I don't know, the days just absolutely fly by. And while I've done a little bit of stitching at night, and certainly did, you know, the embroidery, I haven't stitched every night because I'm too jolly tired. And, you know, we've also done a little bit of a change, had to rearrange here as well, because one of our spare rooms, I might actually give this a little bit of a press. Do I need to? Let me see. I might not need to. Might be able to do it all in one hit. Oh, it would be easier if I did it. I'm here. I'm just ironing. All right, I just turned that little bit over. I think that'll just, instead of me being all fingers and thumbs. Anyway, what I was starting to tell you before I decided to iron was that we have two spare rooms, one with a queen size bed in it, and the other one had bunks for the kids to sleep in. And as they've got a little bit older and bigger, they're quite happy to sleep in the queen size bed. And I said to Paul, you know, I think it's time for the bunks to go. We've had them, you know, for 12 years or whatever. That's how old the oldest one is. Well, probably we've had them for 10 years because we didn't need it till we had a couple of extras. But there's no point in keeping them. We were going to do that one day. Anyway, what's ended up happening is, so just got to make sure that you don't go over those zipper teeth on the back there when you're doing everything all in one hit. My mum had a spare room with a queen bed in it, and they're going into a 2-bedroom unit, but she thinks that they probably wouldn't be having overnight visitors and wanted to get rid of the bed. And I said, oh, well, actually, we might have that because we were thinking about getting another one. Oh, good, she said, take it now. So I've been sitting out on our back veranda undercover within wraps because, of course, it was just, this is just, the back is, the lining is a bit wider. That's all right. I'm going to move it along. Anyway, so yeah, so today was the day to dismantle the bunks. My daughter's going to have the top one because it's like a, you know, it's like a loft one. She's going to have that, but she doesn't need the bottom part, so I've got to yet to dispose of that somehow or other. So I'm hoping on the local site somebody might be in need of, you know, a spare bed or another bed or a bed, because it's been only used for grandkids' sleepovers. It's hardly been used at all, so it's still in really good condition. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the side of this tab, come across the zip, and then work my way down. And I'm just going to use a running stitch and a fairly, you know, one that's close together. Don't forget, so the wrong side of the lining's facing the wrong side, you know, the internal side. But we're only going to be doing it one bit at a time. No seams joined just yet. All right. Anyway, my hands are a bit sore. By the time we dismantled the 2 beds, because they all, you know, they're just metal frames that all need to be screwed apart, and getting the mattresses in the house, and it's hard work. But anyway, we did it. It's all good. All right, I'm going to start over here. Because this will actually be caught in, so it won't matter that the knot is there. You're not going to see the knot. And it might not be something that I can scoop. But, you know, you just got to be careful. Go slow. I could do it on the machine and it would take me not very long. But I like the look of this top stitching with the pearl cotton. Yep. We're good to go here. And I didn't really think too much about what I was doing with that bit of fabric. I just used it. But I'm noticing that my hand is a bit stiff. And I think it's just from manhandling mattresses, screwdrivers and things. So it'll be good when it's done. But I did want to leave it unmade just to sort of warm it up. What I'm trying to decide here is, do I need to keep that top stitching going? I think I do. So whenever you do top stitching on the other side, it never is straight. So be aware of that, that if you want it to look straight, you actually have to be mindful of it going how it's behaving on the wrong side as well as the right side. I'm just going to run my needle in under there so that I can bring it out into that seam allowance there. Yeah, so while this isn't going to be seen necessarily, it will be seen along the zip edge, because this is all gonna get caught in. All right, so you just need to watch what you're doing on this side, that you're coming in on a straight angle, because sometimes if you don't look, it goes all which way. So yeah, it'll take a couple of minutes to do, because I'm keeping an eye on how straight my stitches are. Try as I might, I can't make them go automatically straight from one side to the other. Always seem to get them off on an angle. No idea how to make them go straighter other than doing the way I'm doing. So yes, I'm keeping my stitches fairly close together, watching where my needle is coming and going, making sure I've caught edges. Yeah, see, if I go down there, it's way out of line. So I need to be watching where the needle's going in and out. If you don't worry about the every which way, then just go ahead. But I think I probably want it to look straightish. And I'm going close to that folded edge because I haven't got that much seam allowance, so I don't want to miss anything. But if you were doing it on the machine, you'd do it with a zipper foot and you'd still stitch close to that edge. And, you know, I could have done it on the machine if I wanted to, but as I said, I would prefer to do it by hand if I can. And I don't mind the hand stitching. I quite enjoy it. Gives me a chance to sit and do something fairly mindless without having to switch and start myself. Yep. I was trying to decide whether I should have done the white because of the white dragonflies. Nah, it'll be all right. Cool. All right, I'll keep going here for a second. And then I think I'll come back when I'm ready to go on the other side, because otherwise we'll be, you know, sitting here for too long together, and you don't need to watch me do straight stitch. All right, I'm going to keep going all the way along to here and go across here, and then I'll open the zip up and I'll do the same thing on this side. So, but I'll come back when I'm ready to do that. Okay, back in a second. Okay, so I've done one side and now I'm up to the second side. So all I did was just fold it into a bit of a tube, brought the two sides together. One of the things that you need to make sure, this wibble will sort itself out when I stitch it, but, you know, test that you've left enough space so your zip isn't going to jam. Where your lining and the front is joined. There's a bit of a hesitation there, so just going to make sure that I've got those in the right place. That one might be a bit tight. So while I've been gone, I've done 10 other things. So we have a second freezer that I keep out in my little garage for, you know, just overflow from the kitchen freezer, because I like to, you know, do a lot of my own vegetable prep from my garden and things. So it's not always something that I have room for in the kitchen freezer. Anyway, my mum will be coming here for a couple of days between removalists and settlement and all of those things, and I know that she's got a few things in her freezer, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's not going to be enough room in my kitchen freezer. So, and the one at the back is just one of those little ones with drawers, so it was a bit crowded. So I thought it's time to defrost that. It's one of those older freezers that you need to defrost. Who does that anymore? Not me, but anyway, the little one does. It needs it. All right, I'm just going to do another double check that that's going to go comfortably across there, and it is. So yeah, so I've got a slightly wet sleeve because it gets a bit of frost in it, and you know that needs to be gotten rid of. And oh, sorry, and here's the phone. Hang on, I'm back. I've had phone calls and I've, you know, got my tea half sorted, and then I put the video on and it was on slow-mo. I was like, I can see my video, you know, from my camera to my TV because I can mirror it, and I was like, why is everything out of sync? It was just like doing this. I would do this and then it would do this, and I was like, what's going on slow-mo? I don't know how you put it on slow-mo accidentally, but anyway, I apparently did. But while I was chatting on the phone, I did the second row of stitching. So now the zip is inserted. I'm ready to do that. The way to do the next bit is to, through the zip, pull the lining through and turn the bag inside out. Okay. No, did I go the wrong way? Silly me. Okay. Just need to get it the right way so that I've got now the bag inside out, because I'm doing them, I'm stitching them separately. So I've got the lining this side, the bag this side. And so the rule of thumb is, where you've got that little tab, you face it to the lining, like so you fold it to the lining. I don't know, apparently that's something you need to do. All right, I'm going to pin this together, pin the lining together. I'm going to do one side, and then the other side is I do half of it. So that little tab is just push it to the lining, okay? I'm gonna put a pin in where the, you know, the outside of the pouch works together. So for this, I'm going to have to do it in 2 different threads, because what I don't want is black stitching showing through here and orange stitching through here. So we need to do 2 lots of, we need to change colour. That's all right, we can do that. Not going to take us long. Cool. All right, I've got orange thread that just right at this second just did a disappearing act. Oh, you know, I'm going to use this one, which is that plain colour thread, and it's just like a running stitch to hold it together. The other side I need to leave partially open because I need to be able to flip it inside out again. And yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm nearly done. It's nearly done, which is really good. Cool. All right. So I've pinned it together so it's going to stay together. You know, that kind of 1/4 inch seam. I do, as a rule of thumb, kind of like 5 stitches, 4, 5, and do a little back stitch. Do I need to pull you down? So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just what I do, and then a little back stitch, and it just locks it in. Do you need to come a bit closer? Come down a little bit. Okay. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just a running stitch. Yep, you can see that. And a little back, it's just kind of a locking stitch. 1, 2, 3. I mean, you don't want to make them wide apart because you'll get a gap, you know, it'll gape. It will gape. I haven't ruled 1/4 inch. I'm kind of doing an eye thing. You know, there's a little, maybe not as much as 1/4 inch, but it's close. A little back stitch. Yep, you can see that. Okay, I'm nearly there. These are all meeting together. And I'm going to come to where that, where that join is, where those seams meet together. I could possibly use the same thread, but just in case it can be seen, the inside doesn't matter so much, but I don't want to see this thread on the outside. And so I'm just gonna change colour. And that's just because the outside is a very different colour to the inside. And that's my choice only. Anyway, I have no idea whether I even asked you whether you were okay. I'm okay, apart from a crazy life, but that's all right. After next week, things might go back to some level of normality for a couple of weeks before I go away. Hopefully I can come back and talk to you. So yeah, in this video, I don't know whether you'll see me again. without a week in between. That's just how life is right now. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go where those two meet and make sure that hopefully I've made that nice and tight. So I'm going from that other side. Feels like they weren't quite in line. Black is always harder to stitch, and black on black is even harder. But as you can see, you know, having cut away that blanketing is definitely supports whatever it is that I'm doing here. I mean, I could go closer to the blanketing, I suppose, if I wanted to. But because I've done this running stitch, it's going to hold it together, which is the most important thing for me. I'm just checking, you know, that yeah, I'm in line here. And I'm going to have a look before I do the other side, because the other side I need to do the outside of the pouch first and then leave a portion of the other side of the lining open so I can flip it inside out. And that's the thing that needs to happen. You know, 4, 5, whatever. It's just a little locking stitch that just holds it together, really. However many you feel comfortable doing. You could do a back stitch if you really wanted to, but I've done this before and a back stitch isn't necessary as something to hold it together. Or you could machine run it down quicker, probably. Or, you know, may or may not be quicker. Go to the end, tie it off. Didn't put my phone on silent, silly me. I'll go and do that in a minute. Sorry, I didn't do that before. I did it for the first bit and then didn't do it for the second bit, and that's why it rang. Never mind. Okay, cool. All right, let's have a quick look. So we've got this side open, remember? We can have a quick look, make sure everything's neat and tidy. It looks okay. You know, you can see the stitches here, but I'm hoping once I flip it over, it'll be okay. All right, let's just see what's going on. All right, cool. Everybody's all right. And now I'm gonna put them on shush. Put on shush. No more pinging. All right, cool. I'm going to do the other side, remembering to tuck that little tab, just fold that little tab in so that it's tucked into the back, into the lining part. All right, the lining can have a little bit of stitching happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch sort of like probably the first half of it. I'm going to stop about here and then I'll turn it all in the other way, and then I'll just slip stitch it together. Okay, nearly there, and that'll be it. I'll be done and dusted. And I thought I'd put things like, you know, my phone chargers and those things that flap around inside your suitcase when you're travelling. And I thought if I can just have somewhere for it to all go and it's not flapping around in my suitcase, and that's sort of kind of like what I've got in my head, really, why I'm doing this. It's not it's not for stitching, it's for all the other things that you have to carry when you're travelling. I don't know what I'm going to do with stitching. Just, you know, I'd like to take something and then I always take more than I need, and then I go, what was I thinking? I've done one thing out of the 5 things that I took. So I just need to, harder to see with the black thread, sorry. I know, but I can sort of see where I'm going. Harder for you to see. Black on black, and it's night time. I'm going to have homemade fish and chips tonight for tea. That's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. Once I've done this bit with you, then I'll go and cook tea. I've been working on a couple of other, you know, just hand sewing stuff, which wasn't really necessarily video worthy, really. A bit boring, but I might go and do that. Cool. Like I said, I hope you're all doing good. I hope your life is allowing you the opportunity to do what it is that you want to do. Our life is okay. It's just busy, and you know, it's family stuff. There's nothing horrible going on. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. Oh my gosh, I got new glasses during the week. No, I had to succumb to bifocals. Happens when you get to a particular age, and I was having to change glasses and fiddle around, and she goes, have you ever thought about bifocals? And I said, well, you know, I didn't really want to, because I have quite good long distance vision. It's just my vision up close. You know, well, now I don't even know where to look. I don't know where to put my head up, down, what I'm doing. So I guess I'll get used to it, but I've only had them, you know, barely 24 hours. And I love the vision when I'm not sewing. When I'm sewing, it's a little trickier. All right, I can feel in here where that bulk is, so I'm hoping I've got it right. All right, get rid of that one and then go back to that. Did I have some of that left a minute ago? No, I must have got rid of it. Go back to this colour. Sewing them separately just gives you a slightly nicer finish. Hopefully, we won't ever know till we turn it inside out and see what's going on. Whole day today, Paul and I thought it was Saturday and it's Friday. I don't know what happens sometimes. The days just do a disappearing act. up to with this. All right, making sure, what I want to make sure is that I don't, that's that little tab, I don't want to catch that. I've got to just only catch the lining and not the tab. So that's kind of like a finger thing, you know, a finger press. I'm just going backwards and forwards a little bit there. Yeah, thought it was Saturday all day today. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it was Saturday. I didn't have to do the school run. My son-in-law had a, you know, RDO, rostered day off, and so he was taking his children to school and picking them up, so I had the morning off. That's the only one I've had for a little bit, so it was so now I don't know what day I'm up to. This could be any day. All right, I think, and given the size of this, I'm going to leave about that much as an opening for me to flip it all in, and hopefully I've got everything, you know, I'm on the screen. You'll see it the same time I do. Okay, this is the opening that I've left myself. Flip it all through there. I'm not going to worry about trimming anything off, doing anything different, any trimming, or I think we should be right. I think we should be right to go. I'm not worrying about corners or. But see, that tab, even though it's there, it's a better fit than rolling a zip over. Just needs a bit of help to tease it out. Going to go through the hole that I've got in the lining just to push that out a bit more. Going to pick something with a blunt end. Yep. Give that point a bit more of a point. Okay, let's see what, if anything, needs to happen here before I stitch it up. I don't know that I've caught it well there. Let's have another look at that one. I might just give that another, excuse me, another stitch, just to make it a bit tighter. It almost was like I didn't catch that fabric properly. All right, I'm going to go from this side. I know that I'm using this thread, but hopefully, so where I can see where that zipper tab is, I'm going to just come in really close to that, and I might do a back stitch. It's just like I had a bit more of a gap than I thought that I needed to have. Yeah, that one's good. That one's out of the way, but this one was a bit close for some funny reason. Don't know why, but anyway, that's the best part about doing it by hand. You can kind of fix it without too much problem. Trying to get it in and out of the machine is a little bit harder. I'm gonna just, it's like I seem to have come in a bit close there. All right, go back to there. Join it up. See what that looks like. You're seeing this, warts and all. It's okay. This side's better because you've got that, you know, it's where that zipper tab comes across there. That's better than this one's. Maybe not as great. Yeah, I just keep that bit there, it bothers me. Let's see what it looks like when I do this. I don't know why that keeps happening there. Maybe I came in a bit close. Maybe I didn't have enough. What's the saying? A blind man would be glad to see it. It's all right that side. It's just not as nice as I probably like it. It's just that bit there. Oh, you can't see. There's a little bit of a wibble there. I'll have another go at it. One more go, and then I'm gonna go. That'll do, because it's just, I've obviously come in a bit close. There's just like, looks like a dog's breakfast in here. Oh yeah, I can see maybe where the problem is. All right, that's the tab, that bit there. All right, so what I've got to do is come in a little bit closer. One more go at it. No thread left on there. Let's have another. Not by here. I think it's just I didn't quite get it tight enough. So, you know, these are the things you have to play with, and, you know, you might go, all right, well, that didn't work. You know what's happened? It's here that I came in too close. I'm going to have another go. I'm going to come in closer again. I didn't leave myself enough seam allowance. I think that was the problem. I just don't want to go. Yep. So I think it was maybe one side of the black wasn't as tight as the other side was. So I don't want it to fray away. That's the reason why I'm having another go at it. a bit fiddly when you're doing it by hand. It's always going to be something that you have to have a little play with. But, you know, sometimes when you're doing it by machine, it's even worse. You know, you don't get a neat enough... It's just that corner that's not quite as neat as I would like it to be. And I might get over it in a minute. I just might get over it in a minute. Let's see. But I don't want it to fray away. Oh yeah, that's better. I've got it tighter there now. I've probably pulled that tab in a bit tight. All right, this tab was good. There's the tab there. And that's the side bit done. Here's the tab on this side. I've got no raw bits there hanging off. But it just sits a little bit nicer than if you bent the zip into the seam. Your tab just gives you that little bit of extra there. Cool. All right, where's the opening? We're nearly done. We're nearly done. We're nearly done. We're nearly done. Cool. All right, I'll leave, you know, tuck in a seam allowance. Oh, that's just where I machined it, and I've cut it and fold in a seam allowance inside. All right, get a bit more thread. Woohoo! Fish and chips, here we come. Friday night home cooked fish and chips. That sounds all right, doesn't it? I'll get the air fry going. I'll pan fry got some barramundi fillets. They were frozen, so I needed to defrost them. Yeah. That's what's on the menu tonight. What are you having for tea? Are you having something that you like to do? We could have had a shop bought fish and chips, and I just went, no. I've got fish in the freezer, we're having that. I'm happy with pan fried fish. I don't need it deep fried in batter or any of those things. Cool. All right. I'm just going to do kind of like a blind hem. So on the fold, I'm going to catch it. Can you see me do that? Catch it on the other fold. I mean, you could just do a running stitch and stitch it together, but I'm going to stitch them together, kind of like a ladder stitch, so you can't see it. So you go across, down, on that side, straight across to the other side, and down in the fold is what I'm doing. And then you can't see it. Across, down the fold. Across, down the fold. This will be good. This will be good. I like this. I like the look of the pouch. think it looks nice. You know, the zip was, you know, it had its tricky minute, and I think I've resolved it. I'll put a little zipper dingle dangle on it. Something, I had these ones that I bought and then I lost them and then I found them and now I can't think where they are. You know, I don't know, there's a chook or a heart or a something that I can hook onto the zip, but yeah, can hardly see those, and you're not going to see them from inside the pouch. They'll be fine. They will be fine. All right, I don't know where I'm up to because I've had a stop and a start, but I'm hoping I'm within the hour with you. If it's a little over, I apologise, but I don't know. This one is like 34 minutes or something, or 35 by the time I'm finished. And then there was like 2 minutes before the phone rang, and then I think there was like 20 odd minutes, the first bit. So, yep. Nearly there. Wonder where those zip pulls are. I just have to think about it. Oh, you know, I put things in a very safe place that I'll know exactly where they are when I want them. They disappear forever sometimes. Yeah, so you can hardly see those stitches where it's pulling the lining together. A little bit different to the previous zipper pouches that I've made, but something similar. Where am I at? Am I nearly at the... I'm nearly there. Sorry, hopefully you can't hear the TV because it is closer to tea time now. We've all come inside and the heater's going. All right, that should probably do us, I think. It's probably further than I need it to come, but that's all right. Cool. Yeah. So that's where I just hand stitch that lining together, and, you know, well, you can see the stitching. Once it's inside, you won't notice it. It's all good. I'm not going to bother boxing the corners or doing any of those crazy things. There we go. Beautiful. The zipper's good. If you try and curl the zipper over, it just gets a really nasty look about it. And I think having that little bit of tab there, you know, while I played with it for a second because, you know, I didn't catch the fabric in it properly, but you know, it's done now. It's just a nicer look, I think, than trying to stitch the zip into a seam. Just, you know, it's a bit ugly. Just catching these last little bits of threads. How beautiful. I'm happy with it. Hopefully you like the look of it. I'm very happy with it. You know, the zip is there. It's, you know, it's not in your face. That little bit of thread was okay to do the running stitch. Looks okay. I'll find the zipper tab. Don't know where it went. You know, I had them and, you know, and then they've disappeared on me. I've got this one somebody gave me on something else. You know, I could always put that on it if I really wanted to. That looks nice on there. Open it up. I've got a nice look in there. I've got a little jazzy bottom. How good. Cool. All right, that's me. Done and dusted. Done my little pouch. I love it. Hope you like it, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Okay, take care. Bye.